into my Positive Perspective Internet show today, where we feature individuals and groups who share the common goal of improving the Charleston community. Today's episode is brought to you by Vistaprint, who reminds you that it is always important to make a first impression. Today's guest is Brian Park. So how you doing, Brian?
Pretty good, thanks, Jason.
Good. And Brian founded today a group here in Charleston called the Carolina Cyclists. So maybe you can tell me a little bit about how that group, came about.
Okay. Well, first of all, I didn't found it.
Oh, yeah.
It's called the Coastal Cyclists, and they've been in the coastal region for, longer than I've been in Charleston. A pretty long time. I was actually looking on the web to see just how long, and I couldn't find it. But I've been in Charleston now for almost 20 years, and they existed even before that.
Oh, okay.
So, and anybody can be a member. They've got a great website. It's coastalcyclist.com. And the one thing that they do, that they're all about, of course, is bicycling, making cycling safe in the city and in the region, and just a lot of people with like minds of enjoying riding bikes. There's one of the most useful things I think on there is that they have a calendar of events. So just depending on what day it is, where it is, there's typically a ride almost every day of any kind of within the city somewhere, whether it's all the way out in Mount Pleasant or even over here in West Ashley. So,
and here in West Ashley, we have some great bike trails with the Greenway.
We do. It's been really surprising the last couple of years how there's always been a Greenway, and it's been in existence for quite some time. Yeah. And just in the past 2 years, they decided to pave it.
Yeah.
And it's not all the way paved, and I don't know if they have plans to pave all of it, but they've done some really good work even where it's not paved.
Yeah.
And you can ride your bike on the whole thing, and it's just, since it's been paved, it's been an absolutely, it's amazed me on how many people actually utilize the trail all the time.
A lot more. I was there before it was paved, and now that it is paved, I don't have to put air in my tires nearly as often. What would be like maybe your advice to someone who kind of want to get involved in bicycling because they like to lose weight or they like to, increase the circulatory respiratory benefits?
Yep. Well, what was your question again?
What would be good advice to them on getting started as bicycling as a hobby?
That's, there's so many things involved. But the first thing is just get on a bike and ride.
Yeah.
That really is key. But one of the things, of course, you can always come to any bike shop in the city, I think, and they're all going to be pretty friendly. They're all going to try to help you at the most, just to how to get started.
Yeah.
The one recommendation I would certainly say is, if you really have your heart set on riding a bike, don't be afraid to buy a new bike from a bike shop. That's really key because there's so many people out there, so many stores that do sell bikes, but they're not, I almost put it in a category of, that big box store that they just sell a piece of merchandise, and typically it's in the toy section.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you just don't know what you're getting. Is it a well-built bike? Is it, and those are the questions you really need to ask. Is it a well-built bike? Is it a name brand? Who's responsible for building it?
Right.
Is it a safe bike? And that's one of those key things. As far as getting on the bike and riding, there are so many. There are a lot of questions you have to ask yourself, and hopefully the person that you're talking to at a bike shop will ask those questions. And one of them is, well, what are your goals? That's of course going to be the main one because we look at it as an investment in your life, in your health and your well-being.
Yes.
And it truly, truly is.
Yeah.
I've been, I'm one of those guys that I can say I'm lucky enough that pretty much I've stayed out of a hospital and out of a doctor's office ever since I started riding a bike, except for broken bones and things like that, you know. But most of the time, I think just by being healthy, eating healthy, and getting a fair amount of exercise, you're so much better off.
Yeah.
You know, one of my favorite customers came into me, you know, I believe almost 10 years ago, and he was I would call him older, but not elderly. And the doctor said, "Get on a bike or die." You know, I mean, that pretty much was, if he didn't start exercising, he was going to die. You know, he was suffering from hypertension, you know, obese, you know, he was on all those, you know, the blood thinners, the everything. Like, you know, he showed, you know, that big box of pills that everybody gets, you know, nowadays. And sure enough, he started riding a bike and started dropping weight. I think he was well over 300 pounds when he started.
Wow.
Or at least close to it. You know, he's one of those short, round guys, you know. About 6 months ago, he came back into the shop. You know, he's always been in and out of the shop for quite some time. Really great customer. He came in and he says, you know, well, he turned 70, you know, just this past, you know, this about 6 months, just turned 70. And believe it or not, he's down to like 160, 170 pounds. And he's no longer on any medications.
Great for him.
You know, and that's all. And what he's done really is, you know, start to eat right and exercise. And he's taken to the point where, he started on, you know, like a beach cruiser. Yeah. You know, and now he's got to the point where he's got a couple $1,000 road bike. You know, but he just keeps progressing, and he got to the point where, guess what? He doesn't have to take any medications for his life.
That's excellent.
You know, to stay alive. So he literally turned his life around. The one funny thing about him too is that he owns a barbecue joint. Wow. So, you know, kind of difficult, I would think, for him to, you know, to eat right and exercise, and yet, you know, there he is, you know, just doing really well. And that's really one of the major benefits of riding a bike. You can do it in any form or function that you want.
Certainly, yeah. And I even think it would be great for children with autism and, you know, special needs like that. ADHD, I mean, it's kind of like when you get on a bike, you're just kind of in your own zone.
There are a lot of studies out there that, you know, I wish I could cite them all, you know, but that there are racers who suffer from ADHD. There's one guy, Jens Voigt, who's a professional cyclist, he's the oldest man in the pro peloton right now. And they claim, you know, or he claims that he's, you know, attention deficit. And before he became a professional cyclist, he really didn't have much direction in his life. Since he's been riding, he's become one of the most well-respected people in the pro peloton. Everybody looks, just loves to emulate him. He does things that are absolutely amazing, you know. And now he's, you know, like I said, he's a busy man. You know, he's got 6 kids, and you know, riding in the pro peloton. You know, he's just an amazing person. And there's all kinds of people like that you read about. One of the benefits too is I was watching one of the not public access, but on public TV, a Nova show about geriatrics. And one of the things that they really promote is to ride a bicycle. Mainly because riding a bicycle actually works your brain in such a way that it keeps it more active than doing anything else.
Wow.
You know, actually, because you've got to keep your balance. You know, it's hard. Exactly. The speed, the balance, the pedaling, the noticing everything going on around you.
Yeah, the environment changing.
It's actually working your brain more than just sitting in a rocking chair doing a puzzle.
Wow.
You know, that kind of thing. And so they've even shown where studies, it helps reduce the onset of, you know, all these debilitating, you know, brain disorders.
Well, it sounds, you know, the cycling is something definitely beneficial for human life. And so thank you, Brian, for joining me. I'm sure we'll be seeing you again. Thank y'all for tuning in to My Positive Perspective. Have a great day.
On a sunny day, I feel my thoughts drift away. Only good vibes and good times living in my brain. On a sunny day, catch me lamping in the shade, feeling so fine and so high. Oh, my sunny days, still I hope all my efforts will one day pan out. The love within you'll never be without, so I roll, feeling strong and so invincible.